So here we are talking about the Detroit Red Wings, because when it comes to the recent interview that Steve Yzerman did yesterday, there are some really interesting notes and ideas that were tossed out there. Some people are kind of contesting these, others are a lot more defending. Of course, Steve Yzerman is the GM, and he has been a Red Wings legend since the 90s and the 80s and everything in between, so this man can do no wrong in the minds of many Red Wings fans, but that doesn't mean that there is no opportunity to go out there and discuss his ideas. So, I'll leave a link in the description to this article on NHL.com, written and published by Dave Hogg. It goes out there with some of the recent comments by Stevie Y in regards to updates with this team. Red Wings will re-sign Raymond Seider in due time, GM Yzerman says. By the way, I'm recording this video on the morning of Saturday, June 22. It's 4 a.m. right now. I just got back from the hospital. If you had seen the previous video on the channel, you know that I was there for 9 hours on the day. But if there is a signing of Raymond and or Seider before the time this video gets public on YouTube, then hey, I apologize for that. We'll talk about that more in a separate video. But this is what Steve Yzerman went out there and talked about in regards to those Raymond and Seider potential contracts. I'm just going to work around that. We can't force anything, Yzerman said. They will get done in due time, but to be quite honest, I don't anticipate that happening at this stage. We'll have to make decisions along the way based on that. So, this opening comment. Of course, you know, we're just dissecting individual sentences here. It's not the biggest deal in the world, but the idea essentially being tossed out by Yzerman is that Raymond and Seider will not sign within the short-term future. They'll get done at some point, but maybe not soon. Again, if there is a signing by the time this video is public, then okay, I apologize and we'll retcon everything by making a second video, but Steve Yzerman probably isn't going to get this done anytime in the next few weeks. And we did have some people going out there, for example, the Grindline guys, question whether or not this really was the right way to go about things. I don't mean to sound alarmist, but how do you go into what is shaping up to be the most important free agency period in recent memory without knowing how much money you have to commit to what are going to be two of your most highest paid players? And this is an idea that got some people agreeing, others disagreeing, but it is a fair point to bring up. Steve Yzerman is building a team that I think it would be reasonable to say people think can make the playoffs in 2025. If the Red Wings barely miss out or they barely squeak in, then okay, that's kind of the expectation as to where Detroit can finish next season. If they completely fall off the face of the earth and they finish dead last, that would be a huge disappointment. So, with this in mind, Steve Yzerman has an opportunity here with a big stacked free agency class to use some of that money on these extra guys, but how is he going to be able to do that if he doesn't even know how much his two highest paid young guys are going to be making? Now, in response to this tweet made by Grindline, there was a reply, because they can sign bridge deals. The Grindline guys say, I don't see that happening. And then Yzerman, in this reply by Kaisermap, Yzerman already said he doesn't pay for potential. And to double down, all of the Tampa Bay Lightning contracts that he had signed when he was there got bridge deals. And this is a really interesting idea, so what I wanted to do was use one of the last few days of Cap Friendly's existence to go out there and talk about Steve Yzerman, Detroit Red Wings' current GM, and his former contracts. This list is sorted by AAV, and if you go into the history books, you'll see that Nikita Kucherov got his 8-year deal with the Tampa Bay Lightning at $9.5 million a year. That was signed by Steve Yzerman. But before Steve Yzerman signed Nikita Kucherov to a 3-year, $4.766 million AAV deal in 2016. This is before Nikita Kucherov started to pop off with 120 and 140 point seasons, etc., etc. He was still pretty good, but still he got a bridge deal. You can say the same thing about some of these other guys. JT Miller, $5.25 mil, bridge deal. He is now a 100-point caliber player in Vancouver. You scroll up the list and you see Steven Stamkos. He had a 5-year deal in 2011, $7.5 million a year. It was only after that, in the 2016 offseason, that Stamkos got his current $8.5 million deal. Larkin, he's at 8 years because of course he is. Nikita Kucherov is at 8 years now after getting that initial bridge deal back in the day. If you go over to, let's go to team, we'll go to Tampa Bay Lightning, signing status, RFA. This is where you will see the guys signed over here by Yzerman. Let's go over to length and talk about these players here. So Hedman got a $4 million 5-year deal. Andre Palat got a 5-year deal. JT Miller a 5-year deal. Usually, this is the case here. These guys get shorter-term contracts. Nikita Kucherov, of course, he had the 8-year deal, but that's because his first deal, at only 3 years long, expired as an RFA. So Steve Yzerman has had this plan before, where he doesn't sign all of these younger dudes who are going to become amazing to huge long-term contracts right away. He always waits. He gives them a shorter bridge deal, and then he's like, okay, fine, now we're going to go and give you the big bucks after you prove yourself for 5 years or something like that. Let's continue with the rest of this article over here because there are some extra thoughts by Stevie Y in regards to the Wings and their futures. This is what he says about these players. I understand the process, and I've had very good dialogue with both Raymond and Seider's agents. I'd love to have deals done now to make things clearer, but I can't control that. We'll plan accordingly, but we might have to adjust our free agency plans on the fly. And so that is exactly what we were talking about as well. Grindline guys went out there and proposed that this actually was a concern. How can you consider yourselves in the market and actively talking to, shopping around assets when you don't even know how much money Raymond and Seider are going to be making? But Yzerman's saying it, yeah, we might have to adjust our free agency plans on the fly based off of how those contract negotiations go. Now, to end off this video, I also wanted to talk about something else that Yzerman said. He said that Captain Dylan Larkin had a surgery after the season to address an upper body injury. The 27-year-old center led the Red Wings with 33 goals and was second to Raymond with 69 points, very nice, in 68 games played. He was dealing with it late in the season, and at the end of the season, when they got all their scans and x-rays, he had to address it. He had, I don't want to say a minor injury, but he had to have surgery. Larkin is training. I don't think he's skating or shooting pucks yet, but I expect him to be 100% ready to go for training camp. So that is, of course, pretty alarming, but when you think about the way Dylan Larkin, D-Boss, was able to finish off the 2023-2024 regular season, I'd say he had a pretty good go. I mean, look at the amount of points he had. The guy was injured and he was doing this? My gosh, is there still the thing at the top here? Yeah, 12 points in his last 10 games to end off the regular season. What an absolute stud. Doing all that with an upper body injury? I don't know if anybody's going to go out there and start doubting D-Boss anytime soon, but there's no reason to. So, Dylan Larkin, of course, we hope that he's able to recover properly. Steve Yzerman gave us a scoop here. It looks all optimistic on that front. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about some of these other thoughts as well. How Steve Yzerman is prepared to not give Raymond and Seider money right away, and how they might have to adjust their free agency plans on the fly as a result. Is this a red flag? Is this something you'd rather see the team do? Are you okay with this? How do you feel about the contract numbers for Raymond and Seider? And what do you think about Steve Yzerman's past, the history wherein he's continuously given out shorter-term bridge deals to guys coming off of their ELCs? It happened with Kucherov, it happened with JT Miller, happened with Palat, happened with Victor Hedman, happened with Stamkos, it happened with Andrei Vasilevsky. That guy got a 3-year, $3.5 million contract before signing the beast of a contract he is on right now. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about Steve Yzerman and all of these concerns. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.